Hey guys, Trouble1701 here, and today we are going to be talking about some Tom Baker. We are going to be looking at the top 10 post-Hinchcliffe Doctor Who stories, in my opinion. Now, I've actually done this list before, but I really like just the idea of a list like this, so I wanted to do it again. And when I was first thinking, I need to redo that one. I've gotten a lot more subscribers since I did the original one, and I was like, I need to flip back through my notes, and I was like, no. I have a better idea. I need to just do the list from scratch without looking back at what the list was the last time I did the video a few months back. That way I can actually, after I do this video, go back and look at that list just to see how different they are. I'm curious how my opinion on my top 10 post-Hinchcliffe stories are now to what it was when I did the original video. Because I've mentioned before that my rankings are very fluid. You know, my opinion changes on stuff constantly. So I'm curious to see how that list, the first list, will compare, excuse me, to this list. And the reason why I want to do this list is I like to do videos that I don't see people do as often, you know. I mean, I could do top 10 best Tom Baker videos, top 10 worst, Whitaker videos. I could do these type of videos that y'all seen plenty of other people do. But for instance, when most people do top 10 Tom Baker stories, we know the list is going to be dominated by seasons 12, 13, or 14. I mean, there may be some other stuff in there from the Williams and J&T era, but we know for the most part, if people are doing a top 10 Fourth Doctor stories, it's going to be a lot of Hinchcliffe stuff. That's just how it is. Just objectively, that's how it is. Those are just better stories. And that's usually what dominates a top 10 list. And that gets done a lot. And to me, it's just not as interesting. I think instead doing a list of the post-Hinchcliffe era, just seasons 15, 16, 17, 18, is way more fascinating, way more interesting. And how often do you see it done? It's not something you see a lot. So to me, it's just a more creative idea. And I like to try to come up with videos that other people don't do as often. Or even if you do see it, you don't see it as often. So, this is my top 10 Tom Baker stories post-Hinchcliffe era. So seasons 15, 16, 17, and 18. I can't talk today. Number 10 is The Armageddon Factor. I see it where this one's not really that popular, but I actually really enjoy it. I think the Armageddon Factor is nice. I think the main villain, or maybe not the main villain, but the kind of shadow character is a little hammy, but I think his makeup design is fine. I like the time aspect of it. I like when the Doctor has to create that little time loop, and it's slowly stretching, so it really does kind of give a sense of urgency to what's going on. I like the fact K9 gets reprogrammed in it, and I like how the Doctor catches it because K9 calls him Doctor instead of Master, and he's like, Doctor. We get to meet another Time Lord in it, Drax, who's kind of a mixed bag, but interesting. I like that this is a nice introduction for Lalla Ward to the series. I like her as Princess Astra. The guy who plays the military commander who's under the control of the Thing, I think he's a good actor and does a really good job in it. And I like Tom in it. Tom's really good in it. I like the Armageddon Factor. I think it's a fun story. I mean, it's not necessarily essential Doctor Who viewing. That, and I love the ending. I like when Tom figures out what's going on. I actually like how he plays that scene. I know him and the director fought how he plays that. There's only my will, because I have the key to time. I love the way Tom plays that scene. I know the Target novelization is much darker. The director wanted it to be much darker. But I think Tom Baker knew how he wanted to play that. He plays it very Fourth Doctor, and nobody knows the Fourth Doctor better than Tom Baker, because the Fourth Doctor is basically just Tom Baker. And I think Tom played that perfectly. I love the way he does it, and it's part of what sells the story for me. I absolutely love it. In ninth place is Meglos, another one I think doesn't get the attention it deserves. I enjoy Meglos. One, it's good as a four-parter. I think any longer... Well, no, I take that back, because Meglos is the one story I wish was a little longer. I either wish it was a little longer or that the ending was done a little better. Because my main complaint about Meglos is it ends very abruptly. Like the ending just kind of happens and you're like, oh, that's it? They're right in the middle of stuff happening and then it's just kind of over. And I'm like, oh, it's not like a 5 or a 6-parter? Okay. I just wish the ending lasted a little longer. It just seems like it gets kind of rushed up at the end. But I love Tom in dual roles in it. Tom is really good playing Megalos in it, the way he does that. Looks like he's having a good time. He doesn't actually look like he minds the makeup, and I'm the kind of person I figured Tom Baker wouldn't like the makeup. But it's cool seeing him in dual roles. I think he does it really well. And this is really the only time I can think of when a doctor is playing not only the doctor but a lookalike, where it actually makes sense plot-wise to the story. It's not just a coincidence like I think for Hartnell and Troughton it really was just a coincidence. But in this story there's actually a reason why he's playing both characters, as Megalos is purposely disguised as a doctor. So it actually makes sense in the plot, which I enjoy. Number 8 is the Ribos Operation. Rebus? I've seen the story a couple times and I can never remember after a few days. I really like this one. I believe it's another Robert Holmes script if I remember correctly. I think. I like it. Really fun story. Really good. Probably my second favorite from season 16. I'm not saying it's a classic, but I think it's a lot of fun. And I love how well Tom and Romana 1, Mary Tams Romana, get along in this story. Their banter in this story is wonderful. It could be my favorite interactions between the Doctor and Romana are probably from this story. I love watching them interact. It's probably one of the reasons why I like Romana 1 better than I do Romana 2. By the time I sail, that will be dead. Well, it's either Romana or Fred. Well, I don't really I think I'd rather be called Fred. Right! Come on, Romana. I've just butchered that whole bit, but I love that scene. I absolutely love that scene. At number 7 is The Pirate Planet, which is my favorite story from season 16. I do love me some Douglas Adams. I like The Pirate Planet. It has some good humor mixed in it. I love the captain, Mr. Fibley. I think his design is realized really well. But there's actually a lot of darkness. I mean, we're talking about a vampire planet, basically. A planet that materializes around, that's hollow, that materializes around another planet, sucks its drive, its resources, and then teleports away to find another victim, leaving it, a Hulk that the guy then stores. It's pretty terrifying. It's actually a really dark story that's filmed in a very humorous way. And of course it has some of Douglas Adams' wit in it, of course. But if you actually really stripped it away, it's a pretty dark story, especially when you realize the plan that the captain has going with what's left of all the planets. I love that scene when Tom's like, "What's it for?" It's actually a really good scene right there. It's actually, if you get to the bare bones of the story, it's pretty dark. Pretty dark. Number 6 is The Keeper of Traken. A lot of fun. Love Anthony Ainley as Treemaster. Probably my favorite Anthony Ainley role is in this story with him playing Treemaster. He's so regal, so suave. This intelligent, kind scientist, which makes it all the more heartbreaking, when his body gets stolen by the Master. Makes it even more a loss when you realize just how good of a person Treemaster was. Again, I like Adric in this, because I actually do like Adric with the 4th Doctor. He didn't really become irksome to me until he was with Davison. I actually enjoy Adric in season 18 for the most part. Nissa's good in this story. She hadn't quite become useless yet, because I'm no offense to Josh Snares. Please don't tell him. But I'm just not a big Nyssa fan. I like her in concept, and I like Sarah Sutton. I feel like they didn't do anything with her. They didn't develop her character well. And I think that hurts her. But she's really good in this story. And of course, Tom's great. I love the conversations about time and stuff that did happen and doesn't happen that the Doctor and Adric have at the beginning of the story. Really, really neat. Number 5 on the list is The Sunmakers. I've talked before about how much I love The Sunmakers. A great Robert Holmes script. A wonderful satire about taxes and the tax man. A lot of fun, taken to the extreme, which is, again, kind of what satire does. But it's really fun. It's a little hammy in places, but not to its detriment in any way. I really like it. I think it's one of Tom Baker's best non-horror stories. So many of his classic stories are very horror-driven, but this one really is really, really good, and most of the actors are in pretty top form here. Number 4 is The Horror of Fang Rock. This is my favorite story from season 15. It is a classic. It would fit right in season 13 or season 14. If someone thought this was a Hinchcliffe era story, it would be an understandable mistake. It's really, really good, and a perfect example of why it's dangerous to be a guest star on an episode of Doctor Who. You don't want to be one of those guest characters sometimes. It's a lot of fun, and I actually do owe one of my patrons a rewatch and a review of that soon when I get some free time to work on it. Number 3 is State of Decay. Easily the shining jewel of season 18, my favorite story from that season. I love State of Decay. It also would fit right in the Hinchcliffe era in seasons 13, 14. It also fit right into season 15 as well. Really good story. A couple of the practical effects at the end are a little classic Who-y, so to speak. You know, a little cringy, but it's a very solid story. Again, Adric's really good in this one, not very irksome. Lala doesn't really bother me in this one because sometimes I have some issues with Romana too. Tom is really, really good in it. I really like the ruling 3 in it. I think they're acted really well. They're very theatric. They do a lot of very theatric acting, but it works in the sense of the story. And it's really nice to see kind of that horror throwback in season 18, which is a much more science-y season overall. It's kind of nice to see this one in there. I've gone on about how much I love State of Decay in way too many videos. It's a good story. Number 2 is Shada. I do love Shada. I think it's such a crime that Shada did not get completed originally back in 1979. It would have made such a good season finale. Such a good story. Wonderful location filming in Cambridge. The animation used in the 2017 release is really, really good, and does a really good job completing the story. Douglas Adams' wit is just in fine form here. And I really love the ending scene. It's very touching, very moving. I absolutely love Shada. I own it on DVD and Blu-ray, and I'm really looking forward to getting the season 17 box set so I can have it there too. And number 1 on the list, my favorite Doctor Who story of all time, City of Death. I can't get over it. City of Death by itself would make Tom Baker my favorite Doctor. He's just so good. This is pinnacle witty Tom Baker right here. Just pinnacle Tom Baker at his ultimate wit. The scene when he first meets the Count and the Countess, when he's inside their little greeting area in their house or whatever, their den or whatever it is probably my favorite scene in all of Doctor Who. That part when he's like, "What? You're a beautiful woman, probably." I absolutely love that. Who sent you, Doctor? Who sent me what? It's probably my favorite scene in all of Doctor Who. I love City of Death. Julian Glover is so good as the Count in that. He's so good. The police guy, Duggan, is that his name, is just really, really good. I love the little cameo from John Cleese. The lady playing the Count's wife is great. I love City of Death. Beautiful location work in Paris. Easily my favorite Doctor Who story of all time. So that's my top 10 list. I know I kind of rambled a bit like halfway through the video. I just got really tired and kind of lost track. What is your top 10 favorite stories post-Hinchcliffe era, the Williams era and season 18? Which 10 do you like the best and why? And what do you think of my list? Is there some you're like, why isn't such and such on there? Or are you like, how come such and such is on there? Like, for instance, I was kind of surprised Legopolis wasn't on the list, because I do like Legopolis a lot. It's not my favorite Final Doctor story or Regeneration story, but it is a good story, and I think it actually is on the original list. I'll have to go back and look. But I'm curious to know what you think down in the comments, so let me know what your favorite Tom Baker stories post-Hinchcliffe era are. Other things to do, click the like button, click the subscribe button, click that bell for notifications so you never miss out on a new video. I do a new video daily. I've also started a Patreon page. You can find that down in the description below. Check that out. My entry-level tier is only $2 a month, and that gets you entry-level access. And then there are other tiers there as well, in case there's anything there that interests you. Most importantly, though, stay safe out there, and thank you for watching.